YouTube folks, it's your friendly Spirit Wolf coming at you with another video showing you the step guide of removing a motor that you can see we've already removed from this joiner. Belonged to an uncle of mine. It also belonged to my brother that's long since passed, sadly, but I inherited it and he didn't have any place to store it, so it kind of stayed out, which happens. Anyways, I'm going to fix it up in his honor, and also because I've never had one of these in the shop, so it'd be nice to have this edition. But this is how you replace a motor on your Delta 6-inch Deluxe long bed jointer. And it was actually sitting next to the side shed of the shop, behind that wall right there where that cabinet is, the cubby cabinet. And obviously this motor spins freely, and maybe I could rebuild it, but I just don't think it's worth it, to be honest. And I don't know if that's the original engine, the original motor anyway, so it really doesn't matter at this point. And I could probably what I'll end up doing is just going to Harbor Freight for one. But what you need to do is see these two holes right here. You have some bolts right there. Those are what bolted on. You unbolt those like I did, and I just put them back in so I knew where they went. And then these two bolts up here go into this hole. So when you're removing it, you obviously will want to disconnect those if you want to just take the whole unit with the wiring like I did. Or you can just take these two screws off, and in the top here are two terminals that go to the motor from this, like the solenoid coil deal on the motor, to into here that you can disconnect. I do recommend labeling which one is what, and same in the box so you remember it if you're going to reuse this. Unless you're going to rewire it. I'm going to try to reuse this box and this cord. And then you also, when you're doing the motor, of course you'll want to take this off, because you'll have to take this pulley off in order to get to these, to remove this bracket fully. These two screw bolts right here, these no, they're hex head bolts. These are the ones that hold the bracket together. And then if you want to take this bracket off completely separate from this piece, you just take these out. Like I say, you can take this whole, but who knows, you might, when you buy the motor, already have this piece with it, but it's good to keep it anyways, just in case. You never know. And well, I'm going to be taking these apart so I can clean it up, the bracket, repaint it. I'm also going to be resurfacing the deck. So that's basically how you take that apart. Now, for those of you who don't know how a motor works, the principle is this is like a coil magneto deal that sends from this wire down, it travels, sends connection to the switch, which also sends to the cord. This happens to have like a, it's called a safety guard power switch thing, device. And basically all that is like a giant diode to step down the power to have the right voltage going into the outlet from the cord that you need stepped down from this, in a sense, I believe, pretty much. Like right here it'll tell you, but I think that's pretty much what that is right there. Just a giant diode, if you want to look at it that way, if you're familiar with what a diode is. In computers and TVs and radios, it's just a dimmer, essentially. Without it, you probably could have a high power. And I think it's also trying to prevent overpower to the switch, which would in turn blow the switch. And then this thing would probably just spin so fast that it would blow the motor, because it would smoke it out, which you don't want. That's why you need this kind of stuff. And I think there's a reason they put that in there. So yeah, it's basically how one of these motors works, for those of you who're not familiar with one. And before I hang up this video, do look for updates on this, because I will be doing more updates on this, and I'll probably try to do videos of me restoring this, do a full out video. I was able to get this freed up, but not this side. These are your adjustments, your depth of cut adjustments right here. And this is also your adjustment right here for your tilt on your back plate, how you want to hold the board. That's how that determines. So you can move this either way, and you can push it back. And what it'll do when it pushes it back, it's kind of like a rocking chair. It'll rock it up, and then you can also tilt it down, kind of like if you're rocking back and forth in a rocking chair, so to speak, or like a rocking cradle for like a baby. If any of you are familiar with the old school rocking cradles, would be the best. And that's basically what it is. And this is the lever to tighten if you want it synced into where you have it into the setting where you want it, and it's synced in. And this is basically the just to keep it tight and keep it locked in handle. And when you're removing this motor, what I didn't do, because you can do it either way, is you can either take this plate off, which is two screws here, both Phillips head. There's 4 of them. Or you can do what I did and kind of finagle the belt off of that without having to remove that back piece. But I do highly recommend moving this back piece, because I kind of at first forgot the back piece was on there and was able to finagle it and found it would work. But I highly suggest removing this. It's just going to be tons easier for you to remove this plate. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. And I hope to see you in the next video, YouTube folks. And I hope this has been helpful to you on your Delta 6-inch Deluxe long bed jointer, which I believe is also a planer too, from what I understand. My brother telling me, but I could be wrong about that. I'm going to do some more research on this. I definitely know it does jointing, but I'm pretty sure it does planing work too. And anyways, thank you so much, and have an excellent time, whatever it is, wherever you are. And keep your heads up, stay strong, and all that jazz. And as always, sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. Catch you later, YouTube folks, and I will see you in the next video.